SAT gods, what will be on the March test? I see it. Triangles stacked together into a pyramid, factors, exponential equations. Okay, they have spoken to me, and I come to you now with the gifts of questions that will be on the SAT, the hardest questions. And these questions will guide you for those who are taking the March test. The hardest questions you'll see, and I can guarantee you'll see some of these on it. So let's try these out. A pyramid has 6 edges. Each edge is 12 centimeters long. What is the surface area of the pyramid? So this is the first question type I'm predicting on the test. Someone will get it, and you will come back and you'll have it on your test, and I'll see a comment saying, I had this question on my test. I've done this before and I've gotten it right. I got it right so well that they deleted my video because they weren't happy with it. So let's try this. If it has 6 edges, right, think about what a pyramid looks like, right? There's something building up, and then on the bottom, it's like this. So it's a pyramid with a triangular base. So a 6-edge pyramid has 4 triangles. And since all the edges are 12, they're all congruent to triangles, right? So we just find one triangle, and it's 12, 12, 12. So it's a 60, 60, 60 triangle, right? Equilateral. We draw an altitude down, so this becomes 6. We have 12 and 6. Then we have now a 30, 60, 90 triangle, right? 30, 60, 90. Gives us x, x root 3, 2x. So if this is 6, right, the 30 part, and this is 12, that's 2x, this is going to be 6 root 3. So now we find the area of one triangle and multiply by 4. Area of one triangle will be the base, 12, times 6 root 3. So it'll be times 1/2, right? So it'll be 1/2 base 12 times 6 root 3. And that's going to give us 36 root 3. And now we're going to do 36 root 3, and we're going to multiply that by 4. 36 root 3 times 4, and that's going to become 144 root 3, and that will be our answer right there, okay? So not too bad a question. The hardest part is visualizing it, but now that you've seen what it means when it says 6 edges, you'll be able to do this. So we're going to do another question that I have predicted for the test. It's another pyramid question, but a different type of question using pyramids. So let's try it. Okay, so in this one, right, we have a square right pyramid has a surface area of 3,584. The 4 triangular sides have an area of 2,800. What is the height of the pyramid? So if it's a square right pyramid, right, it's like this. Square base, and then we sort of have them all climbing up like that. I'm not a great pyramid drawer, but you got the idea, right? So we have 4 triangular sides. So we can find the area of the base by subtracting the sides from the total area. So we'll do this. And now we'll get a 784. That's the area. So to find the side length, we would square root that. Equals side length. Of base. So that will be 28, okay? So why do we need the side length, right? Well, because we need to find the height, and to find the height, we need to make these triangles drawn out, right? So let's find the slant height first, which is going to be the height of triangles. So slant height, let's put a little note to ourselves. Equals height of triangle. Okay. And then we're going to do the area of one individual triangle, which will be 2800 divided by 4. So each of them is 700, right? And that's the area. So 1/2 BH equals 700. It equals 1/2 times 28 times H, right? So then 1/2 times 28 is 14. So we have 700 equals 14H. That means H equals 50. But this is slant height, right? So this is slant because it's the triangle's height, right? And now what you could do is imagine the base from the center to the edge is 14, right? So let's imagine a right triangle. This is the height of the triangle, or this is the height of the pyramid. This is the height of the triangle, and this is from center to edge. So this is 14. This is 50, and this is, we'll call this H, right? So then we're going to do Pythagorean theorem, 14 squared plus H squared equals 50 squared. Okay, so now 14 squared is 196 plus H squared equals 2500. So H squared equals 2304. And then H is going to equal the square root of 2304, which is, that's right, it is 48. Okay, so this one, again, is very similar to the last one, except here you want to find the perpendicular height, and the last one you were just trying to find surface area. But I feel very confident that you'll see pyramid questions, and they'll be some of the hardest questions you see on the test. So make sure you know how to do these two. These are two of the hardest types to do. And if you know how to do these, you'll be in a really good position for pyramids. So let's try some more things that I'm predicting for the March SAT. Okay, so in this one, we have 2mx squared minus 18nx plus 2m equals 0. The equation has two solutions, and m and n are constants if m is less than 0 and n is greater than 0. And n over m is greater than k. What is the minimum value of k? Okay, so this is a quadratic equation. So we can think about the quadratic equation, right? And think about the discriminant to think about solutions, right? So discriminant equals b squared minus 4ac when it's positive, you have two solutions. When it's 0, you have one solution. And when it's negative, you have 0 solutions. So this time it's positive, right? So b squared minus 4ac is greater than 0. And now this becomes m if we simplify and divide everything by 2, negative 9m. Okay, so then we're going to plug in m for a, m for c, and negative 9n for b squared. So we're going to get negative 9n squared minus 4 times m is greater than 0. That's going to give us 81n squared minus 4m squared is greater than 0. So let's add 4m squared. So we're going to get 81n squared is greater than 4m squared. And we want n over m, so let's divide both sides. Let's square root both sides actually first. And we'll get 9n is greater than 2m. And now divide by m and divide by 9. So let's divide by 9m on both sides. And we are going to get, right, n over m is greater than 2 over 9, right? But we were told that one of them is negative and one of them is positive. So even though when we square rooted, we got positives, right? We know it's going to be negative. So n over m is greater than negative 2, 9. So that means it's greater than k. So k equals negative 2 over 9. Okay, so this one feels very abstract, but once you start working it out, the numbers really define it pretty quickly. Okay, so again, I'm predicting you'll see a question involving abstract things that you have to use the discriminant for. Okay, so look out for that on the test. Be ready for it. These are some of the hardest questions, and they're based on the types of questions students have missed in the past on the real test, even if they're not really based on specific questions. Okay, so in this one, right, we have another one that has to do with the discriminant for the equation ax squared plus 110x plus c mx plus n is a factor of the equation where m and n are integers. What is the largest value of ac? Okay, so again, discriminant, I should have just kept that up, but discriminant equals b squared minus 4ac. It's the part inside the quadratic. It's inside the square root in the quadratic, right? And it has to be positive to have two solutions because that gives you two roots. If it's 0, you only have one root. If it's negative, it's imaginary, right? So this is going to give us positive 2 solutions, 0, 1 solution, negative 0 solutions. Okay, so then we are going to do b squared here. So it's going to be 110 squared, right? This is b a c minus 4a, it's nice that they had it right with c in it, has to be something, right? And the fact that there's m and n are integers, that's just telling us that we have integer values involved, right? So this is going to be 110 squared is going to be 110 squared is going to be 12,100 minus 4ac, and then you can set this equal to 0 because there's at least one solution, right? So then we're going to get 12,100 equals 4ac, and then divide it by 4, ac equals 3,025, right? So the mx plus n, why was that important? Because it's telling us there's whole numbers, and it's also telling us that there are solutions to it, right? And then you're just trying to find what the largest could be, right? If this were any bigger, we would have only non-real solutions, but this gives us a real solution. Okay, so it's almost complicating it by giving us these letters. You're almost like, well, do I need to find what m and n are? Not exactly, right? You can just use the discriminant to find it. Okay, so now let's try another one. Another prediction, I'm feeling confident that these will show up in the test, and that if you study these, you'll be in a good position for tackling the hardest questions. So now we're moving on to exponential equations, right? F of x equals n to the x minus p. The equation above has a point at d11 and 2d, comma 251. And p is a negative number. What is the value of p? Okay, so we have exponential equation. It's not too complicated, but it's totally abstract, right? No numbers involved. The only numbers we get are in the text of the question. So let's plug it in, right? We're going to have n to the d minus p equals 11, and n to the 2d minus p equals 251. So n to the d equals 11 plus p. And n to the 2d equals 251 plus p. Now, n to the 2d is just the first equation squared, right? nd squared becomes n2d. So we're going to square this and set it equal to this, right? Because n to the 2d equals nd squared. So we're going to have 251 plus p equals 11 plus p, and this is where people mess up. They forgot to do FOILing squared. So you need to FOIL it, right? So we're going to get 251 plus p equals 11 squared is 121 plus 11p, right? 11 times p is 11p. And then you do it again, so you're going to get 22p. And p squared is going to be p squared, right? So now let's move everything over to one side. Let's subtract p and subtract 251. And I like to switch it to the left. So we're going to have p squared plus 21p because we subtracted p minus 130 because we subtracted 251 equals 0. And can we factor that? What multiplies to negative 130 and has a difference of 21? We can. It's p plus 26 and p minus 5 equals 0. So our two solutions are 5 and negative 26. But they told us p is a negative number, so our answer is going to be negative 26. Unlike the old SAT and like the ACT, you often have them specify enough for you to know, even when there's multiple answer choices, only one of them actually works, okay? So I am predicting something like this where you have to compare exponential equation, right? Someone will get that and they will comment. Trust me, I have very confident about this. The equation pH equals 32V H over 3 gives us predicted population pH in thousands of a certain bacteria colony H hours after the initial measurement, where V is a constant greater than 1. The predicted population increases by n% every 360 minutes. What is the value of n in terms of V? Right. So this one has answer choices I've created for you. It is again comparing things with exponential equations, right? So H is in hours, but we're given 360 minutes. So what I would do first, before even knowing if I'm right, is do 360 divided by 60 to find hours equals 6 hours. Okay, and now I'm going to plug in 6 into the equation. So I'm going to do 32 V. I feel like V just makes it complicated too. You never see V. 6 over 3, which equals 32 V squared. Okay, and now what is happening? So that's the equation after 6 hours. And the original, right at 0, would just be 32 V to the 0, which equals 32. So the difference here is going from 32V squared to 32. But the percent difference isn't just going to be V squared. It's going to be, you're going to take away 1 to account for the 100% originally there, right? 1 is 100%. It's the original. So this will be what you're looking for. And since it's P per n percent, we're going to multiply it by 100. And that would be C, right? And if you looked at the answer choices right off the bat, you could probably eliminate A and B, because why would you be adding one? You'd want to always, if you're doing something with one, you're usually subtracting it because you're taking away the original and finding the new value, right? And the V squared comes from 6 over 3. You're not going to use this 20, okay? So again, abstract to start with, but you want to play around with it. And once you start playing, you see it come down and simplify for you. So let's try the next one. For which of the following expressions, okay, so this is another factor question. Factors are big on the SAT, and I am predicting that it's going to be big on the March test, right? My muses have spoken to me, and now I'm communicating to you what they say. For which of the following expressions is x plus 3c a factor if c is a positive integer? Okay, so in this one, right, I noticed there's a 5x right off the bat. So they all have 5, so I'm going to make an equation where it's x plus 3c and 5x plus n, right, equals one of these. So let's FOIL this. We're going to get 5x squared, which is what we want because they all have 5x squared. 3c times 5x is going to be 15cx. 3c times n is going to be 3cn, but we'll do that last. And then we'll do 5x, x times n, so it'll be plus nx. Plus 3cn is going to be here, right? And now 3cn is telling us that this is going to be all 10. So 3cn, why is that right? Equals 30c. Divide by 3c, you get n equals 10. So once we have n equals 10, we can plug that in here. And this part has to equal the middle part. So we're going to have 15cx plus 10 x equals something. Which of these could it work for, right? If this is a positive integer, then it has to be at least 1, right? So 10x minus 10x gets you 0. That means c is 0. That doesn't work. 15x minus 10x, right? 15x minus 10x equals 5x. That would tell us that c is 1/3. That doesn't work. 20 minus 10x is going to give us 10x. That tells us that c equals 2/3. That also doesn't work. 25x minus 10x equals 15x. And that would tell us c is 1, which does work. So our only possible answer is D. Okay. So again, look out for questions like this. They won't be exactly worded like this or exactly this, but they are covering the same difficult topics of finding abstract factors in a quadratic, right? They love quadratics and they love making concrete things abstract and making you have to do the work of making it concrete again. Okay, and now this is another one that's sort of about factors, sort of about something else. Let's try it out. For the expression above, mz to the 4 plus n is a factor where m and n are integers. What is the maximum value of b? Okay, so this looks weird because it's to the 8th and to the 4th power. But because this is double this, and this one has nothing, you could think of this as squared, and this is to the 1. So 2 and 1. So let's say this is 22. And forget the z, let's just make it x because we're comfortable with that. 22x squared plus bx plus 105. Okay, so this would become mx plus n, right? What is the maximum value of b? Okay, so then let's say we have mx plus n times kx plus j, right? And let's FOIL that out. We're going to get mk x squared plus jmx plus knx plus jn equals this, right? So then we can say mkx squared equals 22x squared. So mk equals 22. Jn equals 105. And then jm plus kn equals b. Now, it might be nice and easy and be like, oh, 22 plus 105, that gets us b. No, because we have jm, not jn, and we have kn, not km, right? So we have mk. What do we do for this, right? So we want to think about what could be the maximum way we can get a high b. That would be by making one of these a maximum dimension and the other one a minimum. So that would mean saying like j is 105 and n equals 1, and then saying something like m equals 22 and k equals 1. Because that will maximize this number, make it the biggest possible area, and that's the best way to make the biggest area. So we're going to do 22 times 105 plus 1 times 1. And what's that going to equal? It is going to equal 2311. So that's the max b can be, right? We can't actually find the value of b, but we can find the max because they're setting a limit, and this is our limit. It could be anything below that, but it can't be above it. So let's try the next one. It probably can't be anything below it, but it can be below it. And you'll see more of the hard questions. Stick with me. If you know how to do these, I really believe you can get an 800 on the March tests. All right, so we're going to have a percent question, I guarantee it, and it can be as hard as this one. If you know how to do this, I feel like you'll be very confident on general concepts of percents, right? So A is 156.24% of B. A is also 0.062% of C. C is P% of B. What is P over 1,000? So A equals, let's convert that into decimals, so it'll be 1.5624B, and A equals, let's convert that into a decimal, so it'll be 0.00062C. Okay, so let's plug this in for A in the first equation. So we're going to get 0.00062C equals 1.5624B. So then let's divide both sides by 0.00062. So C equals 1.5624B over 0.00062. Now, this is a B, right? So let's find what that is, and that'll give us the decimal value. We convert it into percent, and then we divide by 1,000. This gives us C equals 2520 of B. So that means C equals 2520.12% of B. So then we're going to divide this by 1,000. And these 3 zeros cancel, 1, 2, 3. So we get 252. So we're going to get P over 1,000, right, equals 252. All right. So again, something abstract, no real numbers, just percentages, but then you figure it out because it's still just asking for percentages, and you relate it through the middle number. All right. I predict you'll see something like this on the test. The people who see it, please put it in the comments. All right, and now we're going to do a more basic geometry question that I still think would be helpful to know, that I can still see coming up on the test. I am inspired. I feel the energy coming for you all, so trust me on this. A polygon has exactly 36 sides, and the measure of each of the 36 interior angles of this polygon is 180 degrees. What is the value of D? So total degrees, right, of a polygon is equal to 180 times n minus 2. So here it's going to be 180 times 36 minus 2. So 180 times 34. I'm not going to do the math because I see this 180 here, so I'm just going to leave it like this. Then to find of each interior angle equals total divided by n. So it's going to be 180 over 34 over 36. So that's going to give us 36 times 180, right? We have the 180 already, so it's going to be D will be 34 over 36, which is just 17 over 18. Okay, people have seen questions like this before in the test, and they'll come again, so be prepared. All right, so now let's go on to another one that's very abstract, very fun, and that I believe you should know for March. Given that f of x equals 2x minus u, x minus v, x minus w, where u, v, and w are constants, when v is less than x, which is less than w, the value of f of x is negative. Okay, the graph of y equals f of x in the xy plane contains the point mn, where m and n are constants. If n equals negative 4, which of the following can be true? And then we have three options, right? We have m is less than u, v is less than m, which is less than w, and m is greater than w. Okay, so if we have it negative, right, negative 4, that means that y is negative 4. So when would these be negative? So if it's negative when x is less than w, but greater than v, how could that happen, right? There's a couple ways to make negatives. You could have a negative when you have, let's say, when this is happening, this is negative, right? Because it's less than w, so a smaller number minus a bigger number gets you a negative. This is positive, and that means this must also be positive, which means that u must be less than v, because if u is between v and w, sometimes it might be bigger and sometimes this would be negative. But this is telling us it's always going to be negative, so that means this must always be positive, right? I know that feels kind of weird, but if you think about it, and let's say u equals 5, v equals 8, and w equals 11, when x equals 10, right, we would get negative here, positive, positive. But if u equaled 10.5, that would throw it off, right? So u has to be less than 8 for this always to be true. All right, so now we've established which ones are bigger and which ones are smaller. So m is less than u. If m were less than u, right, that would make this negative. And since u is less than v, that would make this negative negative. So then they're all negative. So that could be true. One could be true. V is less than m, which is less than w. That's like this situation. So that would also work. And then m is greater than w. If m were greater than w, that'd be positive, 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 because it'd be the biggest number. And that'd be positive. So it can't be that. So it has to be, if we look at our answer choices, C. Okay, so very abstract question, but I believe it will be helpful to work through it and see exactly how to line everything up with it. All right, so let's go on to the next one. So this one, I feel very confident about again. So we have in the figure shown points MNO and Q lie on the circle when MN is less than NO. Angles MPN and MNO are 90 degrees. NQ equals 24 root 2. The diameter of the circle is 76. If PO is over PM equals Z, what is the value of Z? So we're told that this angle here, right, is 90. And that this angle here is 90. That makes all four of those 90. So we have a whole bunch of right triangles. MO, because this is 90, and it has dots there, right? That means that MO is diameter. Because 90 degree transcribed angles make a diameter. Equals, that is 76. PO, we want to find PO and PM, right? So now what is NQ? It's 24 root 2. So NP, because these are perpendicular, that means the diameter bisects it. That's another rule. So NP equals half of it. So it's going to be 12 root 2, right? Because it's 24 root 2 divided by 2. Okay, so now we have 12 root 2 for NP. Okay, so now you have to understand how this triangle works, right? And the way it works is by being bisected. Whenever you go from dividing a 90 degree angle across and you make another 90 degree angle, you're making three similar triangles, right? So you have the big triangle, which is MNO. And then you're going to have the little triangles MPN, and then you're going to have NPO. These are all similar because angle M doesn't change in the big one, so it's the same here and here, and then the 90 degree angles are here and here, right? I'm going to put a link up here for videos that I did explaining this in more detail if you want more, but then this one and this one, right, get split and they're changing. But O and O here don't change. So these are always going to be the same. P is going to be the same because it's 90 degrees. So these are all the same similar triangles. All similar. Now, what do we do with that information, right? We're trying to find MNP and then PNO. Okay, so MP plus PO equals the diameter, which is 76. So we're going to have that part. And then we're going to say this, right? So let's do proportional triangles. So in one triangle we have M, P, and N. And in another triangle, which is going to look identical even though they're different sizes, is going to be O, P, and N, right? So OP, we don't know what it is, but we know what NP is, which is 12 root 2. And we know what NP is here, which is 12 root 2. And we're looking for OP and PM, so we can set up a proportion, 12 root 2 over OP equals OM, right? Because that's corresponding with the PN. So it's going to be, or not OM, equals PM, right? Because that's corresponding with the PN. over 12 root 2. We're going to cross multiply. That's going to be 288 equals MP times PO. And those are the same thing that go here. So what can we do with that information, right? We can say MP equals 76 minus PO. And now we're going to plug that in there. So we're going to have, I'm going to erase a bit. Okay, so I'm going to plug this in to there. So we're going to have 288 equals 76 minus PO times PO. That's going to give us 288 equals 76 PO minus PO squared. And then we're going to subtract it, so we're going to get PO squared. I'm going to move that over, right? Minus 76 PO plus 288. So what multiplies to 288 and has a sum of negative 76? I'll tell you right now, it's going to be PO minus 72 and PO minus 4. So that means the big part is 72, the small part is 4. So then the big part, right, is PO. So PO equals 72 and MP equals 4. Now I'm going to erase some more just to do the last bit, right, with some space. So we're going to do PO over PM equals 72 over 4, which equals 18. And that is our answer, okay? And this question, I think people have said they've seen before this type of question, right? Not exactly these numbers or this exact chart, but this will prepare you for the test, right? So all these questions are on material that people find difficult. I've created problems that really get to the heart of it. If you do these questions, you will be ready for the test. I'm predicting you'll see some of these questions on the test just based off my knowledge as a tutor, right? And I think you can all do great on these. If you have questions, let me know. I will be happy to answer them in the comments and do more videos on it and help you in whatever way I can, right? That is the goal. So trust me, I was communicating with the muses. The muses spoke to me. I am now giving you the questions. I'm sending you to the promised land of a high SAT score. So if you enjoyed this video, I've done a whole bunch of other videos. I'm doing this big project to really make the most perfect course for anyone for free. And I'll talk to you all soon. Bye.